So, what does an honest sneaker customizer do when somebody asks them, hey, can you customize this? And they show you something that is done by another artist. Now, if you're anything like me, that might make you feel like you're in a sticky situation. Because number one, you want to make sure that your art is original, that you're proud of it, and that you're not stealing or copying something from another artist. Not only is that not right, but it can get you in all sorts of trouble. The second problem is that the customer has already decided that this is what they want. So now you have to go against the grain and make other suggestions. So how does this all work? Well, in this video, I am going to walk you through how I solve exactly this problem by altering a digital design to make it unique, still incorporating the elements that the customer asked for. Okay, so this is a WWE wrestling fan. I think this is a 13-year-old who wants this specific wrestler's design, theme, tattoo pattern on a pair of shoes. And what I like about this design is it's quite bold. It's got black and red, which are super contrasting colors. But we've got this sort of Maori tribal tattoo. We've got a little bit of a pattern behind the swoosh over here. We've got some basic color blocking and some simple shadows. And then we've got the custom red laces, custom sock liner, and custom tongues. Now, the first thing that I would need to do is find the perfect shoe for this design. Because I know that I can't paint the rubber midsole underneath without it rubbing off. If you don't believe me, check out my other videos. It's something that everybody asks me if I can do, and to this date, I haven't found a convincing answer. But if you're not convinced, look at the link in the description. I'll make sure that you can see that video and come to the same conclusion as me, is that you can't paint the rubber midsole. Anyway, so either we need to find a shoe that has the black rubber midsole, or we need to find a shoe that is plain white. So I'm just going to hop right on over to Nike's official website. As you can see, Jordans always pop up. And we're going to search Jordan 1 Mid. So in terms of the Jordan 1 Mid, we're going to make it a men's one, just simplify things a little bit. And we want, okay, well, we're right off the bat. We've got the white one. And this one could actually really work because it's a red design. We could just have the red outer sole. We won't have to do the sock liner. This would actually speed things up considerably. So I might suggest to the customer, let's go for the red and white and black Jordan Mid, but it just really depends on what they'd be willing to get. Fortunately, these are the same price. So not that many hot options here. So we'll go with the plain white. Okay, so first things first is you want to hop over to Angelus Direct's website. So if you head over to Angelus Direct's website and you go to FAQ, frequently asked questions, you will see shoe mockup. So if you just pop on over to shoe mockup, you'll see a bunch of really useful Photoshop templates where you can just, you literally just click and it downloads pretty instantly. Okay, so that's the best thing. The selection blocks are already made, so it's quite an easy thing to do. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to head up over and open to Photoshop. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to head on over to Photoshop. Yes, I'm using the 2015 version. I am poor. Don't judge me. If you'd like to sponsor a subscription, then I would not say no. Okay, so very easily, just double click to open this template. It's got the image of the shoe at the back, and it's got all of these selectable sections. So you can just hold Control and press on any of the areas to select that specific area, which saves a crazy amount of time. Okay, so first things first is I am going to recreate this as differently but as close as possible to provide some options. So I'm just gonna this is not working, so I'll just hop it into Paint, save it, and then it'll open wonderfully. All right, great. So we've just got the colors here. Just leave that here for a second. Okay, so basically what we've got is we've got a sort of black, a sort of matte black that goes around the outer toe box, around this upper tab, and then also over here. But there's a slightly different grayish black on the toe box, this middle section, and this upper over here. So what I'm going to do, the reason I've got it here in front of me, is I can just use the eyedropper tool to sort those out. So let's start with the outer toe box. It's selected. Let's get you out of the way. Actually, this is just annoyingly big. So we'll just... No! That is not the right thing. Okay. Okay, so we're going to make a new layer. We'll call this outer toe box. And we will just use select control and the outer toe box. So we don't want to actually paint on this layer, we'll paint on this layer. So I'll just grab this color with the eyedropper, and I will use the big brush tool to just pop that in over there. All right. Then next we're going to have the, we'll call this the upper. I don't know what to call it. I don't know what Angelus calls it. The upper? The upper. So I'll use the eyedropper tool to choose that color again, and we'll use the brush tool. Very similar colors, these two. Might end up just doing them the same color. All right, next layer would be the heel tab. All right, so it looks like the heel tab and the heel tab, this section and this section have got the same base. So I will do them on one layer, heel tab and upper. So use the eyedropper tool again. Just that's pretty much black. We'll just take a straight black, and we will select the heel piece and upper two. upper, but that's not quite what I want. Oh, that is quite what I want. So heel piece and upper two. All right, so make sure that layer's selected, complete black, and then I want this. I don't know what that's called. That's not a sock liner. That's a lie. Anyway, so sock liner. I'm going to be sarcastic about this. Sock liner. All right, so the sock liner seems to be a slightly different color. We'll just pop that there. So that's kind of like a little bit navy blue. I don't like that. I'd rather just use the same color as one of these. You know what? I have changed my mind. Let's make these all the same color. It is much simpler for the airbrushing, and we'll differentiate with some other things now. Okay, so this little middle section, let's do the middle next. The middle section, we will... Inner area. Okay, that's not a bad name. Inner area seems to be a lighter gray, so we'll just select that lighter gray. I think that's a bit dark for my liking. We'll just put that outer gray, and then we'll do the toe box, the actual toe box, in the same color. So toe box, same color. All right. So obviously you can see now that all of these little holes and stuff, they are no longer there. So if you want to retain that sort of detail just so that you know where things go, you can go to blend mode, and once you've clicked on it, you can use your mouse wheel to scroll and hop through the different blend modes. So multiply, color burn, linear burn. I quite like multiply. Multiply is good, really good. Okay, so multiply. There we go. It's starting to look a little bit more realistic. You could do that individually for every layer. Okay, so next we want red laces. So red laces, this is why this template is so amazing. So we've got the laces over here. Hold control, press laces, and we can go to our laces layer, select the red that we want, and bam, we've got some red laces. We'll use multiply again just to make them look schmexy. We'll use darken. It's a little bit brighter. And then we've got lastly the tongues. We'll just grab the tongue, and then in the tongue we will make it pure black. Alright, so the blend modes don't really work with black, so you could always just lower the opacity just a tiny little itsy bitsy bit. But yeah, this is just an idea for layout, so it's not the end of the world. Okay, it's not lastly. Next is the swoosh. Okay, so the swoosh we're going to make red, and there are some variations in the red, but we'll get to that. We'll select it by pressing Control. We've got our swoosh layer. We'll select the color with the eyedropper, and bam, we have got a red swoosh, and we'll put that on multiply. So far, looking pretty good. Not a bad looking mock-up. I'm just going to quickly add these to different blend modes so that we can have a more realistic looking image. Okay, upper to something that shows that gap. All right, perfect. Okay, now we're going to go and research this dude, this Roman dude. I have no idea what we're going to find. Okay, Roman WWE wrestler. Okay, his name is Roman Reigns. He kind of gives me Jason Momoa vibes. Okay, so he's a tough dude with a strong jawline and some pretty cool tribal tattoos. So there are a couple ways that we could do this. I think let's first go and finish the design to make it work with what the customer asked for, and then we'll start with variations. So tribal tattoos. Okay, we are not going to get any easily usable images here, so tribal print PNGs. Okay, so we got to find something that kind of works with this triangular. All looks quite good, but I don't want anything too complicated because we're going to have to do this by hand. So let's go with that. Open image, a new tab. I'm just going to screenshot these so that I don't have to go through the hassle of whether or not they're accessible images. Alright, I think let's roll with this one first. We'll just click it and drag it into this image. Ooh, it does have a white background. So it's underneath all of these layers. What we'll do is we will select color range, white, 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 white. We want all the white selected, and once that is selected, we'll press Ctrl-Shift-I, which is inverse. We'll rasterize this layer and delete all the white. No, that was not all the white. Ctrl-Shift-I again. Delete all the white. Okay, great. Delete, delete, delete. All right, then I'm going to hold Control to select this again, and now it's selecting all the black. And I am going to take this red by pressing I to get the eyedropper and making sure that this is, there we go. So now I have made this entire pattern red, and it is a nice looking PNG. So now it's a matter of changing this pattern into something that we like. I mean, that's kind of cool. I think the easiest way to do this, if I'm being lazy, is what I want to do is I'm going to, how am I going to do this? Okay, so on this area here, the areas that are black, I want this design to be red. On the areas that are gray, I want this design to be another variation of gray. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to hide one layer. Then I'm going to select the inner area, and I am going to press Ctrl-J. Okay, we did a pointless thing. Then I'm going to go to the heel tab and upper, and I'm going to go to this, and I'm going to press Ctrl-J. Now if I hide this layer, we've got these layers accessible here. So what I'll do is I will just, I wonder if playing with the blend mode would change that. I want to desaturate it though. So maybe if I go images, black and white, then I can, it's a little bit too stark, don't you think? Alright, so well, it's black and white now, and then we can just lower the brightness, lower the contrast. This is not doing anything. Adjustments. Oh, you know what? We could just drop the opacity. That is more like it. Okay. Just drop the opacity so that it's a little bit more subtle. Okay, I think that we need a little bit more black up here. So I think that sock liner needs to be black. So we'll just pop some black. It's getting in the way. Make it black. Okay. All right, next what do we want? We want to add these sort of little swishy things. So next we're going to select the toe box. I'm going to call these swishy things. And I'm going to use a smaller brush, nice and hard, kind of like that. And I'm just going to do them by hand because why not? If I can, then why not? There we go. And then I'm just going to leave it on the same layer, which is like a little bit naughty. I'm going to just... that's probably not going to work very well. I mean, not quite sure why we're doing this, but now I can just very easily select the outer toe box and the upper two. Oh, that's not the right one. Outer toe box and what do you think that one's called? I've forgotten. Upper? Aye. Okay, press Control I, and then we can just delete we can just erase whatever we don't want here. So it's nice and easy. We will just this is why you shouldn't do that. Ugh. And we'll just change this angle a little bit better. There we go. All right. It's not the best, but it'll do. It's kind of what they did over there. Oh well. Anyway, then we're going to do it again over here. And this is the swishy things layer. And we want to select the inner area. And we're going to do some swishies here. In fact, why are you not working? Okay, middle swooshy thing. I don't understand. That's because I'm using the eraser. Damn it! There we go. All right. Okay, brush. Make sure that this little section here is fully blacked off. And maybe we'll add low hardness, a sort of vignette that goes underneath here. Maybe we'll add this vignette underneath the swoosh as well. That's kind of cool. I quite like that. But we'll take the eraser and just eliminate all of this overspray because we don't like overspray here. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay, so I think this is looking pretty cool. We're just going to quickly take the swoosh and we're going to give a swooshy thing. Okay, And then we're going to take red, and then a darker red variation. And we'll make sure that this brush is nice and hard. And we'll just pop that like that. Oh, come on, nice and smooth. Come on. My pen battery is dead, and I can't find the batteries in store, so I can't do this with the right tools. No, we don't want it all faded. There we go. That could do, and then a little, we'll just do a little fade out like that. Yeah, I think that is looking pretty cool. It's already looking vastly different from the original design, which was one of my concerns. The next thing we're going to do is just do a little custom tongue tag where we will just use a pen tool to select this. Just really quickly select. It doesn't have to be perfect. Still looks professional. Always do mock-ups for people. It really plays a big role. I know that we tend to go a little bit all out on the mock-ups. So we'll just add some white under there, and then we'll add some red. Let's just say some red. Some plain red. I think the red looks good. Okay, cool. So we've got the design. I wonder if this dude has some kind of logo. So Roman Reigns logo. Oh no, man, that's so cheesy. It's very cool. It's kind of Spider-Man-y. This is going to be a little bit difficult. Save that for just now. Okay, so we've now got the one option. So we'll just save that as file, save as, we'll call it Roman 1. Okay, so next I want to create a variation of this. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take this logo. I am going to, how am I going to do this? Okay, I'm going to select the outside. Okay, so I'm selecting all this outside white. Does that work? Doesn't look like it's super refined, so I'll just smooth it out. Alright, so I'm going to delete all of that white. Nope, I did it again. Delete all of that white, and then I'm actually going to take red, and I am just going to turn this into a red logo. Just get rid of that. Because I am not doing no fancy logos. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this. Oh, there's some white hanging on here. Okay, we'll just get rid of that. Okay, now I'm going to take this logo and I'm going to give it some kind of a glow. I don't know how well this is going to work. Red doesn't glow very well. But we'll just... So it's not glowing well on the white, but it probably will. Yeah, so it's glowing quite a lot on the dark. Now, what can I do to improve this? You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to add a new layer and say black spray. And I'm going to, or maybe we just drop a shadow. Drop shadow. No, that's not going to work. Okay, let's just clean this image up. What we're going to do is I'm just going to add a black, just proper. No, this is funky. Okay, so we need to make sure this layer is selected. Put it underneath. And we're just going to sort of give it a little bit of a shadow here. Okay, so now I have gone in mess things up royally. So I'm going to hold Control and I'm going to select Control and Shift, and I'm going to select all of these areas except the midsole. I'm going to select laces, upper 2, toe box, and sock liner. All right, I'm going to press Control Shift I, and I'm going to press Delete. So now we've got a nice black sort of vignette. I think that this is going to be unnecessary to do all of this and then spray straight over it. So I think what we'll do is for this, we'll suggest this for the middle, and we'll just have it as plain black. And we will get rid of the red swoosh, I think. Let's duplicate the swoosh layer and then clear that one, select the swoosh, and we'll make it this color. And where is that swishy swoosh? Swishy swoosh. Just turn that off. All right, and then this can be the inside of the same pair of shoes. So File, Save As. Got Roman 2. All right, so this could potentially be the inside facing sides. Kids, this is definitely for a kid, so we'll just, I think the parent said something about wanting his gamer tag or something like that, so we'll just find a cool, edgy font. What's edgy? What do you think kids would like these days? What font would a millennial, not a millennial, what font would a Gen Z kid want on their shoes? I mean, I quite like that, Monument. All right, let's just make it red because of the contrast. What is going on? Ugh. Okay, maybe that's not the best font. Gamer and tag. Okay, we want to make this nice and small. Okay, so let's find a better font for that. That's quite cool. It's a bit small though. Gamer tag. Okay, I quite like that, so we'll save that as the second option, possibly for the insides. And then what I like to do, as I've mentioned before in many of my other videos, is I like to do an upsell. So what I'll do is get rid of that swoosh. I like my red swoosh. Come back. Okay. Where is the tribal pattern? Okay. So I'll do an upsell by finding Roman Reigns, and then I'm going to suggest that we do a portrait. This is very brave of me. You should be very impressed. What is a good image that would go well for... He's a very mean-looking dude. Okay, so anyway, let's try and do an upsell image. We are more than capable of doing portraits, so let's just get to the fun part of removing this background. Okay, select, erase, get out of here. Get out of here. Okay, so we've cut his head off a little bit here. I don't feel like recreating his head, so I'll just reposition him a little bit. Okay, so this is one of the most important things about working on Jordans is you need to make sure that the actual faces or whatever that you're doing are in the right place. So we don't want to be doing eyes like there, for example. That would be a dreadful place to do eyes. So you want it to be on a nice open space. I think that's great because it's got his tattoo, it's got his muscles, and it's got his face. I think that's probably a pretty good idea. Let's see if Photoshop is capable of filling this hole in his head. Not bad at all. Okay, so we'll just reopen all of these tabs, and there's the swoosh, there's the swooshy thingy, and where is, okay, so he's on a blend mode, that's why he's disappearing like that. And what we're going to do is, while this layer is selected, do the same thing again. We got upper, sock liner, upper, inner area, swoosh, and heel piece. Alright, so I'm just going to Control Shift R and delete the rest of that, so he is nice and bold. And then we will give him a beautiful glow for the beautiful man that he is. Okay, outer glow. The red's quite nice. Yeah, the red's quite nice. It's quite difficult to do red on black, but I feel like it could work. So I'm going to do 2 different glows. So that's the first one. I'm going to duplicate this layer, and instead of having a red glow, I'm going to have a white glow, and I'm going to make it smaller. So there we go. So a white glow and a red glow. Okay, and then we want our pattern, which is, no, we don't want that pattern. We want that. All right, cool. So we've got a proper Roman dude. All right, and we have designed a completely new pair of shoes that is not the same as stealing somebody else's art. As you saw, I went through the process of solving that all myself, and we've got a nice little upsell for if the customer wants to go for a portrait or something like that. We can do something much more epic. So I'm going to send that off to the customer, and hopefully they want to go with the more expensive one. If we get to do portraits, that's even more exciting. All right, thanks for watching. I hope that you found this helpful, if not a little entertaining. If you did or didn't, let me know down in the comments below. I love to hear from you, and consider subscribing for more sneaker related art shenanigans. Until next time, see ya.